Authentic introduction. Huayu raises the flag and is the vanguard of the anti-Korean War. Crossing parallel 97, Nianzu wants to be a trendsetter. So the strongest Yen Ba group in history went online. The entertainment industry has since taken a turn of events. Hong Kong entertainment is starting, and Huayu, America, and Bangzi will all do it. Welcome everyone to support us. Crooked Mouth version. Nianzu, who has traveled through parallel worlds for 97 years and is burdened with huge debts. Brother Long. Do you mind if I collect some wool? Xie Tingfeng. My little brother. Edison. Get out of here, I'm here. There's nothing else to do with you. Trendy. I am the trend. Keywords of the novel. Superstar starts from Hong Kong Entertainment 97 without pop-ups. Superstar starts from Hong Kong Entertainment 97 to download the full text. Superstar starts from Hong Kong Entertainment 97 to read the latest chapters. Chapter 1. Giant Bonds. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Huge debt. In 1997, housing prices on Hong Kong Island climbed to a historic high. The average housing price for mid-range residential properties reaches around 80,000 Hong Kong dollars per square meter. The price of luxury homes is as high as 200,000 Hong Kong dollars per square meter. At this time, the average housing prices in the imperial and magical capitals were less than 3,000 yuan per square meter. Will there be fools leaving less than 3,000 imperial and magical capital houses to pick up 80,000 shares on Hong Kong Island? I'll just think about it again. You're not listening. Who am I for? I'm for my son. It's for our family. For our family. Do we still have a family? We're already bankrupt. Nianzu rubbed his head, and the two middle-aged people arguing inside were his parents. Also a fool who received 80,000 yuan per square meter. The landlord's name is Nianzu. 3 months ago, I watched my friends increase their purchases by 50% in less than a year, and I heard that red chips from mainland China would definitely come to the market. The Wu family's parents poured out 1.6 million assets and borrowed 1 million from relatives and friends, totaling 2.6 million Hong Kong dollars to pay a 30% down payment. I paid a monthly payment of 40,000 Hong Kong dollars and purchased a high-rise unit priced at 8.5 million Hong Kong dollars in Kowloon. The next day, Thailand announced the abandonment of fixed interest rates, and the exchange rate of the Thai baht against the US dollar dropped by 17%, marking the beginning of the Asian financial crisis. To this day, the financial defense battle on Hong Kong Island has just been won, but their housing prices are only 5.1 million Hong Kong dollars left. Having traveled for a week, Nianzu has already sent away waves of relatives and friends who came to ask for payment. He knows that the current properties on Hong Kong Island are still far from the bottom. I didn't mean to ask my parents to quickly sell the house for stop loss, but it can't be sold. Even if someone is willing to buy at this 5.1 million price, they still need to redeem the mortgage from the bank for 5.9 million Hong Kong dollars before selling the house. However, their house is only worth 5.1 million, how could they possibly spend 5.9 million? Today, the investment bank where my father works failed to withstand the financial storm and closed down. Adding insult to injury. The mother of a high school teacher and the photography assistant of a magazine, combined with her income, cannot even pay off next month's monthly payment. Listening to his parents still arguing, Nianzu sighed. Poor couples mourn for everything. Even though Nianzu was a traveler, he felt overwhelmed by this huge debt. Since crossing over, everything has gone wrong. The development of the world seems to be contradictory to his past life. For example, when Hong Kong Island just returned last week, with the support of the mainland, it had already won the financial defense battle of Hong Kong Island. But he clearly remembers that the Asian financial crisis in his past life only broke out after the return of Hong Kong Island. This made Nianzu, who wanted to take advantage of the financial crisis to make a short profit, feel disheartened. Who can guarantee that his prophetic advantage will still occur? He dare not act rashly until he has a clear understanding of the situation. Azu, start working. Victoria Harbor, go out to sea. Hang up the phone. Wu Nianzu quickly put on the camera from the room and went out. Fortunately, there was another fortunate thing that he discovered: he was in a world of movies. Because his current face is the ancestor of a past actor with no face. There may be such a difference, but he feels more handsome than that Azu. Although he doesn't know which movie it is yet, with his face, it's highly likely that he's the male lead. He has also watched all the films that Azu starred in his previous life, but perhaps the plot has not happened yet. Once he understands which movie it is in, he will have a prophetic advantage in the plot. And the colleague who just called him, Ah Luan, also wore the face of Feng Delin from his previous life. So now, as long as it's Arun's call, he must go for anything. I'm afraid I'll miss the plot. On the yacht, Ah Luan, with a seductive expression, took photos of the various beautiful models on board. And Wu Nianzu also looked excitedly at a girl dressed like a village girl. It's not that she's so beautiful, because she's a familiar face, Shu Qi. The one who took her aboard the ship was even more Liang Chaowei. The plot characters appear. This trip is really the right one. Isn't it, Azu? With so many beautiful women, why are you just staring at a village girl? The village girl has a big butt and is easy to raise, can't she? Damn it. Brother, your taste is really unique. No matter what others think, Wu Nianzu is now trying to get close to these two familiar faces. Hello, Arun, who are these two? Wu Nianzu pointed to Liang Chaowei and Shu Qi. That's Kilo Obai, and he brought the village girl to play. Why, are you really here? Wu Nianzu looked at Liang Chaowei, who even gave him a seductive glance. Wu Nianzu's chrysanthemums tightened instantly. Get lost. What's the origin of Kilo Obai? He is a top makeup artist in the Hong Kong island industry, invited by major magazines and film crews. Wu Nianzu frowned and pondered, while Liang Chaowei played the role of the elder. Could it be Spring Breeze? Who are you then? It seems that Azu has never acted in Spring Breeze before. Is it a Hong Kong integrated world? If it's really a Hong Kong integrated world, then Wu Nianzu should hurry back to the mainland. It's so dangerous to engage in street gunfights and RPGs flying aimlessly. When the photos of the model were almost taken, a sea breeze blew up and everyone returned to the cabin. Sitting idly by is not Wu Nianzu's style, but he looked around and didn't see Shu Qi, so he had to look at Liang Chaowei. Brother Abai, this is Azu. He is very curious about the crew and wants to hear from you. Ah Luan led Wu Nianzu to greet Abai together. Abai, who was chatting with a group of models about how to take care of his skin, saw Wu Nianzu and his eyes lit up. Directly push away the beautiful women and let Wu Nianzu sit next to him. Azu, you're so handsome. Are you interested in making a guest appearance as an actor? I think you can definitely make a big name for yourself. Feeling the blue fingers of the elderly rubbing against his shoulders, Wu Nianzu felt like sitting on pins and needles. He just wants to gather some useful information from the elderly, but he doesn't want to be eaten with tofu. Suddenly, a sneer came from the side. Filming. Poker ancestor, do you still want to dream of becoming a celebrity? A four-eyed young man with glasses on, as thin as a hemp stick, had a mocking expression. Four-eyed field chicken. Azu is an actor, it's none of your business. Alan immediately retorted. Oh, I remember. If you don't work part-time to earn some money, you won't even be able to pay off your monthly payment, Pojizu. When the house is taken away by the bank, you'll really have to sleep on the street. After Four Eyes finished speaking, he burst out laughing. After buying a house, my predecessor was still showing off at the company, but I didn't expect to be mocked a few months later. Wu Nianzu stood up and walked up to Xianzi with a faint smile, saying. "Fried field chicken, even if I sleep on the road, there are plenty of beautiful women willing to accompany me, Zuj. Unlike some people who can't even schedule a meal." Fried Boy was poked to the painful spot, and immediately clenched his fist and let go. "Humph, Pujia Zhu, when you play the role of a corpse, I will definitely go and support you." With a sneer, he turned around and left. Alas, he has to settle all the old accounts left by his predecessor. "Azu, you like women?" Ji Lao Bai said with a disappointed expression on his face. Wu Nianzu awkwardly scratched his head and quickly changed the topic. "Brother Abai, what do you usually do on the set? Have you ever encountered those big stars?" "You're asking the right person. There's no celebrity on Hong Kong Island who hasn't put on makeup before. Let me tell you." After listening for a while, Wu Nianzu only heard some gossip, but there was not much useful information. "Simply ask, Brother Abai, where is the girl you came with? Why don't you see her?" Ji Lao Bai gestured with an orchid and said, "You're talking about Abu. Hey, where is she?" New book seeking support. The opening movie is just the background, it doesn't affect if you haven't watched it, the main theme is entertainment. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Harvesting Wool. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Harvesting wool. In the evening, everyone returned to the dock. "Ah, bye. What's going on? Your friend hasn't come back yet, how can I return the rental company now?" Editor-in-Chief Lu Sir urgently asked Ah Bai. "Lu Sir, may Abu be lost? Please wait a little longer." In the afternoon, Abu, who wore a Shu-Chi face, disappeared from the ship, along with a speedboat. Now that the ship can't be returned, will everyone have to wait for her alone? The crowd immediately became noisy upon hearing this. "Do you want so many of us to wait for her without eating or drinking?" The four-eyed field chicken suddenly chuckled inwardly and said, "Ah Bai, your friend won't be running away in a boat, will he?" "Impossible, Abu is very innocent." At this moment, Wu Nianzu also jumped out to support the familiar Abai, saying, "Lu Sir, I don't think Abu looks like this kind of person." "Foolish thread, since you trust her so much, do you dare to guarantee her? If the ship is lost, you will be responsible. You can pay the extra rent." The four-eyed field chicken deliberately provoked. If there is an accident with the character, it is likely to be the plot node, and Wu Nianzu will certainly strive for the opportunity to stay. Upon hearing these words, Wu Nianzu immediately put on a forced expression. "I'll hand it over. Xianzi, I'm willing to stay and help the company with things. Can you do it? If not, just shut up." "That's what you said." The four-eyed boy immediately bit to death, leaving his arch-nemesis dumbfounded at the dock. He was happiest doing such a thankless job. Wu Nianzu snorted lightly and turned his head, saying, "Lu Sir, I'll keep an eye on the ship for the company. How about you go back and rest first?" Others immediately showed joy upon hearing this and began to praise Azu. Editor-in-Chief Lu Sir quickly made a decision and said, "All right, Azu, I'll leave this matter to you to solve." Ah Luan ran out and pulled Wu Nianzu, saying, "Hey, Azu, what's wrong with this kind of thing? Do you really like rural girls? Abu is so cute, can't I please her?" Wu Nianzu happened to find an excuse. Others showed the same expression upon hearing this, and when they left, they didn't forget to tease Wu Nianzu. "Humph, the street-thumping girl." The four-eyed field chicken sneered again. "Hey, Xianzi, be careful of me hurting you." Abai pinched his waist and cursed. The four-eyed field chicken hurriedly left. Abai ran to Wu Nianzu's side and showed a grateful smile. "Azu, thank you. Don't worry, I will definitely help you catch Abu." Wu Nianzu had to force a smile. Although Shu Qi was also considered a beautiful woman, Abu, who dressed like a village maid, was not within his aesthetic range. The two of them were at the rental company at the dock, and Wu Nianzu began to gather information again. Abai, how did you and Abu get to know each other? Abu is a fisherwoman from the bay. I rowed a drifting bottle that was thrown into the sea and found by her, but she actually ran to Hong Kong Island to see me. Do you think she's so foolish and naive? Abai laughed heartily when he talked about this matter. The plot is a bit familiar, but according to this routine, it should be a romantic movie. But Abai is also a fag, it's impossible to fall in love with Abu. Is it me who is the male lead? I want a hero to save the beauty tonight. Wu Nianzu only felt that the plot seemed familiar, but he couldn't recall that Wu Nianzu had acted in this movie. Suddenly, Wu Nianzu saw the photo on the back of the newspaper that Abai was flipping through, with a big nose and a lively smile. Joe, isn't this Azu's nemesis, the big-nosed dragon? With Qinglong and his Azu present, his first thought was the unfamiliar phrase, Azu, stop it, there are police outside. But that's not right, I'm not the wealthy second generation of Guangzhou. Wu Nianzu quickly snatched the newspaper from Abai's hand and saw the headline reading. Chen Ziwu dominates the financial market, while Lion Fund loses on Hong Kong Island. The article provides a detailed description of Chen Ziwu's outstanding performance in the previous Hong Kong Island financial defense battle, sniping at the American Lion Fund. What Lion Fund, isn't it the Tiger Fund from a past life? With a flash of inspiration in his mind, Wu Nianzu thought of which movie it was. One of the rare love action movies of the big-nosed dragon, The Glass Bottle. Don't think about it, you can tell at a glance that Qinglong is the protagonist. Lost, what do you consider yourself? Is it really a fusion world? He wouldn't think that standing against Azu's face would be like a trap. Anyway, I finally have some plot prophetic advantages. Abai, what's the origin of Chen Ziwu? Abai's exaggerated expression. Azu, isn't it? You don't even know the top 10 new billionaires on Hong Kong Island. Regularly changing girlfriends every week, a frequent guest in the finance and entertainment sectors. With Abai's description of Chen Ziwu, the plot of the movie, The Glass Bottle, in Wu Nianzu's mind gradually improved and became clear. Looking at the spirited smile of Qinglong with a big nose in front of him in the newspaper, Wu Nianzu curled his lips. Is the male lead in a love action movie right? Hong Kong Island's top 10 new rich people, right? Do you mind if I collect some wool? It seems that my first bucket of gold from Azu should be attributed to Dragon Brother. As night fell, on a small island covered in rocks, Chen Ziwu called back and forth for a long time, but unfortunately no boat passed by. Looking at Abu, who was already asleep and drooling, he smiled. But when the cold sea breeze blew, he couldn't help but shiver. Although he is certain that if he disappears for a few days, the butler will definitely lead someone to find him. But he doesn't want to suffer these days anymore. Perhaps knowing this simple girl who saved me was the only luck I had on this unlucky journey. Chen Ziwu sighed and then withdrew his body into the damaged speedboat. The east is white, and the summer sun rises particularly early, especially above the sea. At 4.30, the sea rises and the sun rises. The first ray of rosy light shines from the sea level, brilliant and beautiful. Wu Nianzu drove the speedboat he rented last night and searched along the way at the location where he set sail yesterday. Abai has been sent back by him. Of course, one person is better than two people in this kind of opportunity to save people and gain favor. In the film, the male and female protagonists are rescued by a dragon boat racing boat, indicating that the island they ran aground on is not far from the coastline. So as long as you search along the coastline not far away, you should be able to find it. Hey, wake up! There's a boat. Upon hearing that there was a ship, Chen Ziwu was startled and jumped out of the damaged ship. A man and a woman stood on a reef, shaking their clothes and shouting, but unfortunately the speedboat did not stop and headed straight away. Abu was disheartened, and Chen Ziwu also lowered his raised arms. Just as they were disappointed, the speedboat returned to view and headed straight towards them. The two of them were suddenly in high spirits. I saw the speedboat drifting and swaying its tail, slowing down and stopping abruptly, causing a large splash of water. Wu Nianzu gracefully jumped off the speedboat, and the male and female protagonists in front of him, who had become drenched in soup, stared blankly at him. Watching Dragon Brother, with his soft hair and no sign of Duang's elasticity, Wu Nianzu really wanted to ask. Long Go, where is your Ba Wang shampoo? Wow, how did you two make this look? Wu Nianzu asked with a puzzled expression, holding a smile in his heart. He did it intentionally, just treat it as a scene for Azu in a parallel world to reclaim some scenes. Oh. Aren't you the photographer on the ship yesterday? Abu suddenly said. Yeah. Abu, what are you doing when you set sail? Do you know that Abai is very worried about you? Wu Nianzu expressed concern. I'm here to save someone. It's him. Abu quickly pulled Chen Ziwu to his side. Big Nose, who are you? Wu Nianzu asked. The disheveled Dragon Brother wiped away the water from his face and forced a smile, saying, I am Chen Ziwu. Who is that? You said you were the top 10 billionaires on Hong Kong Island. It's me. Wu Nianzu looked contemptuously at Chen Ziwu. Would your beggar-like appearance be one of the top 10 billionaires? If you were Chen Ziwu, I would still be Li Jiacheng. After speaking, he quickly pulled Abrams to his side and looked at Chen Ziwu with a wary expression. Abu, you just arrived on Hong Kong Island. There are many bad men here who specialize in deceiving girls. You need to be careful. Chen Ziwu smiled bitterly and said helplessly, Little brother, I didn't lie to you. I'm really Chen Ziwu. Wu Nianzu looked up and down at Chen Ziwu, his eyes turning, and then pointed to the damaged boat and said. Oh, this speedboat that was damaged by you was originally priced at 880,000 yuan, along with my lost wages, labor costs, and fuel costs. If you're really a millionaire like Chen Ziwu, please compensate me. A gust of sea breeze blew, and Chen Ziwu, who was wet, woke up and said, No problem. Little brother, can you take us back to the dock first? I haven't brought my money and check with me. Upon hearing these words, Wu Nianzu no longer entangled himself and returned with the two of them. New book seeking support. Recommend, bookmark, and follow up on reading. The opening movie is just the background, it doesn't affect if you haven't watched it, the main theme is entertainment. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Planning. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Planning. Victoria Harbour, as one of the busiest ports in the world, is filled with dense boats and a constant stream of people early in the morning. At the dock, an extended Lincoln drove over, and another familiar face got off the car, the Dream Legacy master. Chen Ziwu's butler, wearing black framed glasses, quickly handed over a coat and said, Master, why are you all dirty? At this moment, Brother Long was wiping his hair with a towel, and his whole body was wet and dirty. Small question. Abu, Azu, do you want to come and sit at my house? Chen Ziwu invited. Abu naturally readily agreed. Wu Nianzu looked at the luxury car and pretended to be surprised, saying, Big Nose, I see you're really a millionaire. After speaking, Wu Nianzu rudely extended his hand. Chen Ziwu was taken aback by the situation, then snapped his fingers and the butler took out a pen and a checkbook from his pocket. After brushing and signing, Chen Ziwu handed the check to Wu Nianzu. Wu Nianzu looked at the check in his hand, 6 zeros, 1 million Hong Kong dollars. Big Nose, I won't go and I have to deal with the speedboat. Chen Ziwu had an unexpected expression on his face, and ordinary people would look respectful and approachable when they knew his identity. The handsome young man in front of him remained unchanged in his attitude, which surprised him a bit. Chen Ziwu took out another private business card from the butler and said, Azu, thank you this time. If you have anything to do, come to me. After finishing speaking, get on the car with ease. After the luxury car left, Wu Nianzu waved his hand suddenly. Performed all the acting and successfully pulled wool from Brother Long. Wu Nianzu did not make any false reports. Yesterday, he specifically asked the rental company about the original price of the Shirue speedboat 3 years ago, which was 880,000 yuan. But if it's treated as second-hand compensation or repair costs, it won't cost so much at all. Intentionally provoking Chen Ziwu in front of the female lead in the movie according to his own intentions. He who loves to pick up girls will definitely spend this money in front of women. Chen Ziwu is truly a financial tycoon, who doesn't care about these details and directly gave himself 1 million. But not to mention, Long Ji's way of signing a check really looks like a loss of face. Wu Nian's ancestors went to the bank to exchange checks, and then hired a lawyer to go with him to the charter company. After some bargaining, we finally paid a fee of 250,000 to settle the matter. Wu Nianzu knew that if it was just maintenance, the price would definitely be high, but he wanted to settle it as soon as possible. If the entanglement lasts too long, let the magazine know that Chen Ziwu lost 1 million and made a profit in the middle, then this matter is definitely not clear. Once and for all, I earned 750,000 yuan in just 1 day, which is the advantage of being familiar with the plot. With food in hand, don't panic in your heart. With this 750,000 yuan, the urgent situation has finally been temporarily resolved. There is also a favor from Chen Ziwu, but it's not urgent to use it now. It's definitely worth more than 1 million yuan. After all, this is the man who sniped at the Tiger Fund. Returning home, Wu Nianzu found that his parents had stopped arguing and were silently tidying up their things. Dad! Why did you pack up? The house was sold. Wu Jiahui walked over and sighed, if you don't redeem your mortgage, how could you possibly sell it? To be honest, even if Wu Jiahui were to sell it now, he was a bit unwilling. After all, it has already fallen by 40% now, and according to his expectations, it is almost at the end. It is certain that it will rise back in the future. But he didn't know that the future was even lower than the bottom. I have discussed with your mother, and we will pay the monthly rent for this apartment. We will rent a 3,000 1-month apartment in Sham Shui ourselves. If Wu Nianzu had no objections before today. But just after earning 750,000 yuan and having some plans for the future, Wu Nianzu still wants to stay in this house with good transportation and environment. Wu Nianzu withdrew 50,000 yuan. Dad, this is the money I just earned. It's enough for next month's payment. Don't move anymore, I can still earn more in the future. Wu Jiahui looked at the 50,000 yuan in his hand with a surprised expression on his face and said, Azu, where did you earn it from? Is the source right? He knows his son's income is only over 10,000, how could he suddenly earn 50,000? Dad, I took on a big business deal yesterday, and this is the reward. I definitely came from a good source. Wu Jiahui felt relieved when he realized that although his son was not very accomplished, he had never done anything bad before. He looked at the money in his hand and smiled contentedly. After a moment of thought, he said, Azu, keep your own room, and your mother and I will move out. Seeing what Wu Nianzu had to say, Wu Jiahui waved his hand and interrupted, your mother and I can't help you anything, we can only give you a decent place to live. With the 50,000 yuan given by my son, as well as the rent for 3 rooms besides Azu's room and my wife's income, I should be able to support the monthly payment for about 6 months. I hope the housing prices can rise back then. Seeing that his parents had decided to go, Wu Nianzu no longer stopped them. He still has a plan with 700,000 yuan left. If he really wants to turn over the money and pay off the debt, his mind will be in trouble. After seeing Chen Ziwu, Wu Nianzu also understood. Regardless of whether he is the protagonist in the movie or not, he has no intention of following the original plot. Even if it's just a trick, Wu Nianzu has to live like the protagonist. Wu Nianzu was a voice actor before his time traveling. Yes, it's the behind-the-scenes staff who dub various movies and TV dramas. Dubbing actors are not just lip-syncing machines, they also need to have a foundation in performance in terms of voice, stage, form, and expression. Acting skills may not be on par with some movie stars and veteran actors. But whether it's controlling the character's personality, action line, film context, or the ability to mobilize emotions, one can definitely beat all kinds of fresh meat. It's not that I never thought about following the example of voice actor Huang Bo and walking towards the stage, but unfortunately, he had an unrecognizable face. The biggest fear of being an actor on stage is not that you are ugly, but that you have no memory. Since I have a handsome face in this life, I must walk towards the stage and fulfill my dreams from my past life. Some prophetic advantages from past lives are not to be used indiscriminately, but the value of classic entertainment works will not decrease at all. Copying songs and movies is necessary. Although he can only sing some songs now, he still doesn't know how to compose music. Would it be enough to enroll in a music class and first supplement the basic knowledge of music? My current plan is to take multiple paths simultaneously. Firstly, enroll in a music class to prepare for copying songs. Secondly, find opportunities to enter the entertainment industry and gain a certain level of fame. His current goal is to become popular in the Hong Kong entertainment industry first. After all, at this time, Hong Kong stars are all superior, whether it's in terms of positions or movie rewards, they are not comparable to mainland China. In a few years, you can bring the momentum of Hong Kong stars and fight back to the mainland to seize resources. Thirdly, continue to leverage the prophetic advantage of the plot of Glass Bottle to make money. The first point goes without saying, and the second point is that you can actually seek help from Abai. Although Abai is a veteran, he is actually a very good person. Abu, an unfamiliar Bay girl, came to Hong Kong Island alone and has been staying with his family ever since. Afterwards, Abai will also be enthusiastic about helping Abu fall in love, which can be said to be a wholehearted effort. As a top makeup artist who frequently walks around on various TV shows, Abai should have some connections. As for the third point, it will once again apply to Dragon Brother, Chen Ziwu. He and Zhou Huajian played the foolish villain Lu Naihua, both friends and enemies. The other day, Chen Ziwu fell into the water and it was Lu Naihua who asked someone to do it. Shortly after returning this time, Chen Ziwu will launch a sniper attack on Lu Naihua's listed company. Although Wu Nianzu couldn't remember the specific stock price, in the end, Lu Naihua was bankrupted by Chen Ziwu and committed suicide by ordering gasoline. And the time span should not exceed a few months, because the love story between Abu and Chen Ziwu is just a summer story. Since I now have 700,000 principal, of course I need to take advantage of this opportunity to short the stocks of Lu Naihua Company. If we can use this to complete the initial capital accumulation, then our journey as a singer and movie star can be accelerated by several levels. P.S. There is only one character from Glass Bottle, mainly Chen Ziwu. There are not many other repetitive characters, and the rest are mainly based on reality. New book seeking support. Thank you to all readers. The opening movie is just the background, it doesn't affect if you haven't watched it, the main theme is entertainment. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Ancient Puzzle Series. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Ancient Puzzle Series. The next day, Wu Nianzu came to the securities company dressed in a suit and leather shoes. Seeing Wu Nianzu with a dignified demeanor, a beautiful imperial sister with golden-rimmed glasses lit up in front of her. She immediately stepped on her high heels and greeted her with a heartfelt smile. "Sir, I am the account manager. May I ask if you need any assistance? Please help me open an account and also explain the situation of Lusher Chemical Company." The imperial sister took Wu Nianzu's ID card and called a little girl to help open an account, then smiled and explained to Wu Nianzu. Lu's Chemical is a family-owned enterprise with the largest shareholder, Lu Naihua, with a total market value of 11 billion Hong Kong dollars. Last year, the operating revenue increased by 13%, and after tax, the net profit was 1 billion Hong Kong dollars. After listening to Yu Jie's enthusiastic explanation, Wu Nianzu asked again, what is the current stock price of Lu Chemical and how has it increased in the past 2 years? What is the maximum daily fluctuation of the stock price? The stock price has fluctuated upwards, with a current price of 8.1 yuan, an average annual increase of 20%, and a maximum fluctuation of 9%. Recently, there has been a small daily fluctuation, all within 3%. After listening, Wu Nianzu frowned and pondered. Since he wants to short, he naturally considers adding leverage. If he doesn't cause trouble, the stock price of Lu Chemical will definitely be ruined by Chen Ziwu within 2 to 3 months. But how many times more leverage? He can't be like some senior travelers who firmly remember the fluctuations of stock prices or stock indices to 2 decimal places, with hundreds of times more leverage added up. The volatility of Hong Kong stocks is still quite high, although the current maximum daily fluctuation of Lu's Chemical is 9%. According to theory, adding 10 times the leverage will not result in liquidation. But what if? Is it certain that Chen Ziwu will first raise funds? If the stock price rises by more than 10% before it plummets, then the 10 times leverage is not completely tragic. Keep your hands steady and leave 20% room for oscillation. After careful consideration, Wu Nianzu firmly said. Pretty girl, I'll deposit 600,000 yuan and help me increase the leverage by 5 times. Short all of Lushur Chemical. Wu Sheng, Lushur Chemical has been on an upward trend recently. Are you sure you want to increase leverage by 5 times and short Lushur Chemical with all 3 million yuan of funds, said the senior sister in shock. Wu Nianzu smiled and said, I dreamt that Zhao Gongming, the fortune teller, said that my recent financial fortune should be in the Lu chemical industry. If someone surnamed Lu goes bankrupt, I will become wealthy and prosperous. Upon hearing this, the manager of the imperial sister rolled her eyes and wanted to persuade her again, but Wu Nianzu waved his hand to let her just follow orders. The imperial sister couldn't help but sigh inwardly, looking so handsome, she turned out to be a superstitious gambler. It's foolish to make it clear that someone has deceived you. It's a pity for such a beautiful skin bag. If he loses all his money, maybe he can. Wu Nianzu did not pay attention to the eager gaze of the senior sister manager at him. After everything was settled, he stood at the door of the securities company and looked back. If everything goes smoothly, I should be able to complete the initial capital accumulation in a few months. With this money, he can start a company to promote his plans. Even if something really happens, I still have a minimum guarantee of 100,000 yuan, which is enough. Azu. Why are you here? Abu looked surprised and quickly welcomed Wu Nianzu into his home. Abai, who is applying the facial mask, looks at Wu Nianzu in surprise. Wow! Azu! I already knew you were pretty, but I didn't expect you to wear such a top-tier suit. Abu, it's better to like Azu than to like Chen Ziwu. Besides having money, what else does Chen Ziwu have? I think he's very kind and cute. Abu pouted. Cute. My girlfriend changes people on a regular basis every week, and gossip magazines track her regularly. It's just about being promiscuous. Abai retorted, pinching her waist. Abu snorted and then grabbed Wu Nianzu's arm, saying, Azu, what does Chen Ziwu look like to you? Wu Nianzu's first bucket of gold was still earned by Chen Ziwu. At this moment, he didn't hesitate to say a few good words and thought for a moment, saying, I think Mr. Chen is very competitive and enjoys pursuing novelty. Remembering the way Chen Ziwu signed the check without blinking an eye, he added, you're also very decisive in your work. Roar. You heard that. Azu also thinks that Chen Ziwu is an advantage. Foolish girl. Are you unable to understand human language? Strong competitiveness means loving to compete with you. Pursuing freshness is about meeting and loving each other. I am very decisive in my actions, that is to say, if I leave you, I will leave you. Abai gave Abu a displeased glance and then said to Wu Nianzu. Azu, thank you for saving this fool and coming back. But it seems like it's better to leave her there. Then Abai whispered, this silly girl spent the night with Chen Ziwu and just like being cursed, she likes Chen Ziwu. I'll wake her up. Wu Nianzu said yesterday that liking Abu was just an excuse, so he quickly evaded it. Brother Abai, no need. Chen Ziwu is both wealthy and talented, it's normal for Abu to like him. I don't want to date anymore, I just want to make money. Abai sighed. I really don't understand you. One of you said you liked it yesterday, but you don't like it today. A person who didn't know each other yesterday fell in love at first sight. But I'm afraid Chen Ziwu, this playboy, is just playing around. I think maybe Chen Ziwu likes silly girls. Humph. I'm not stupid. Abu, who was eavesdropping, made a face at the two of them. Abai and Azu exchanged a glance and burst into laughter. Brother Abai, I have something I want to ask for your help with. What's the matter? If you dress so beautifully today, I'll help you to the end. Abai smiled and said. A few days ago, Wu Nianzu saved Abu and brought him back, which deeply impressed him. After all, Abu was brought by him to play and even crashed the ship. I want to give it a try as an actor. I heard that you work in the production team. Do you have any opportunities in your team? Abai looked at Wu Nianzu and touched his chin, saying, it's really a pity not to be a celebrity because she's so beautiful. Hello, Brother Guo. The day before yesterday, you said the crew wanted a handsome guy, and I recommended a guy to you. I hate it. He's really my friend. Abai took the phone and started to be effeminate again. Hanging up the phone, Abai smiled and said, done. The production team is starting next week and we need a handsome guy. I'll take you to meet the casting director later. Thank you, Brother Bai. What kind of character is it? I want to prepare it first, Wu Nianzu quickly thanked. The ancient puzzle series, of course, is the Flying Boy. Wu Nianzu wore jeans on his lower body, a floral shirt on his upper body, unbuttoned a few buttons, and a flying suit. He followed Abai to an ice room. Behind the ice room is a leisure room, where various things such as dining tables, knives, sandbags, etc. are scattered. This is a gathering place for antique enthusiasts. The production team has just contracted it as a tourist attraction, and I will take you to meet the casting and executive director. Abai introduced to Wu Nianzu as he walked. Arriving at a dark and chubby man, Abai quickly greeted him with a smile and said, Brother Guo, you prepared a week in advance. You are truly dedicated. This is Azu. Abai's words are not wrong. In recent years, many Hong Kong Island directors have been pursuing efficiency and have started filming directly when they arrive. How could they have put in so much effort to prepare? Wu Nianzu naturally quickly bowed and said hello. The dark and chubby man couldn't help but brighten his eyes when he saw Wu Nianzu. Deep facial features, straight nose bridges, well-defined facial contours, slender figure, and an unbuttoned shirt fluttering on both sides, adding a touch of wildness and sexiness. New book seeking support. Recommend, bookmark, and follow up on reading. Thank you to all readers. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Big IP Green leaves. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Big IP Green leaves. The dark chubby man joked. Abai, where did you find such a beautiful guy? Did you get it done? Abai smiled and said, Brother Guo, don't joke. My relatives are here. Guo Gu, regardless of whether it was true or false, turned his head and asked Wu Nianzu, local people. How old is this year? How many years have you studied? Have you ever been a Fizai? Brother Guo, I'm in my prime. I'm 19 years old, graduated from Form 6, and worked as a flying boy for half a year. But my dad brought me back. Wu Nianzu did not lie. When his predecessor, Zhong Er, was in charge, he almost followed a friend to join the Xiangtang sect. Wu Jiahui even gave the intermediary 10,000 yuan specifically to settle the matter. How is your figure? Can you accept nude shots? The ancient puzzle series features various open chests and exposed breasts, with Wu Nianzu taking off his top directly. Wu Nianzu is clearly the kind of figure that looks thin when dressed and has flesh when undressed. Although the chest and abdominal muscles are not very strong, their muscle lines are very smooth and have a sense of beauty. Guo walked around and rubbed his chin, asking, Azu, what do you think of an ancient puzzle? Wu Nianzu felt that the main point had come. Brother Guo, the ancient playboy is very powerful. He chops people every day, and picking up girls is very trendy. Before Wu Nianzu could finish speaking, he was interrupted by Guo Gu. Azu, don't lie to me, tell me your true thoughts in your heart. Wu Nianzu couldn't feel what Brother Guo was thinking. Isn't the Gafuzi series the kind of guy who pulls around 2, 5, or 8,000 yuan? Did you answer incorrectly? Looking at Guo Ji's serious expression, Wu Nianzu simply answered truthfully. The ancient troublemaker has no future, today has no tomorrow. One moment of prestige, the next moment may be beheaded. There is no hope for the future of the little thug. Guo Gu didn't give any feedback after listening, but instead said. Oh, you're going to chop someone now, and when you see another person with their hand chopped off, you're shocked and at a loss on the spot. Can you play it out? The main show is here. Brother Guo, give me 5 minutes. Brother Guo nodded. After a moment, Wu Nianzu walked in from outside, holding a prop in his hand. His upper body leaned forward slightly, and he strode forward with great momentum. After arriving inside the house, I saw Guo Gu cutting at a bai, and then a bai fell to the ground and shouted. Wu Nianzu looked at the props falling from the ground, as if seeing a falling hand. He stood there, his mouth opened and closed a few times, unable to speak, only his Adam's apple rolled. Then Guo Gu walked past him, and Wu Nianzu glanced at him before quickly retracting his gaze, unconsciously taking a step back. After Guo Gu returned, he patted Wu Nianzu's shoulder and nodded in satisfaction. Although it's not the effect he wants, after all, he doesn't know the specific plot yet. It's not easy to perform like this in a short time. The key is that Wu Nianzu's performance is not that exaggerated style, which is more in line with his film style. Abai looked at Guo Ji's expression and quickly asked, Guo Gu, can you watch this play, Azu? Guo Gu shook his head and said, Bai, to be honest with you, there have been fewer production teams starting after the financial crisis. There are no less than 10 people looking for me now, all pretty guys. Guo Gu. The director listens to you the most, otherwise how could you choose people? Other people must not have Azul Young. Abai said kindly. Guo Gu looked at Abai and then at Wu Nianzu, it's not impossible, but... The antique Lotus House has been rooted on Hong Kong Island since 1918 and is a culinary landmark in Central. A cup of tea and 2 pieces of tea were boiled in water. My aunt pushed the fragrant dim sum cart and shouted, quick hands, slow hands. Amidst the hustle and bustle, the fireworks are full of energy. Chicken balls, braised pork rolls, pork run barbecue, mala cake with egg flavor, cha siu bao with skin shen and tender meat, film rolls with time and effort, and a pot of pu'er. The 3 people were satisfied. Guo Gu took the tea poured by Abai and took a sip, saying, Azu, do you know how popular the Gafuzi series is now? Wu Nianzu nodded, of course he knew. The ancient puzzle series directly made Xie Tingfeng transparent from a young age and became a Hong Kong Island superstar. In the top 10 Hong Kong box office films in 1996, 4 of them were directed by Xie Tingfeng, and 3 were all directed by Louis Koo. The box office of the 4th installment of Gafuzi, which was just released this year, is currently in the top few. Next year, Zheng Yimian will break the monopoly of the annual box office rankings on Mondays and Mondays for more than 10 consecutive years with the help of dominating the world. Now, as long as you are addicted to the ancient charm of Chen Haonan, there will be viewers going to buy tickets. Now it's not just Fizai, many students want to be Chen Haonan. Guo Gu replied to himself. Do you know the details of this play? The details. Wu Nianzu and Abai exchanged a glance and listened attentively. This play tells the story of young Chen Haonan. The original production team of Gapuzi, distributed by Jiahe, was specially promoted by Emperor Yang to debut as a young master. Young master is Xie Tingfeng, who appeared on the magazine cover on his first day of birth and is the hottest child star on Hong Kong Island. The media followed his father Xie Laosi and sometimes jokingly referred to him as a young master. Upon hearing this, Wu Nianzu immediately understood. Isn't this just the way future capital uses big IP sequels to promote small fresh meat? Originally, they were all leftovers from playing on Hong Kong Island. If you want flowers to be red, of course you need green leaves to complement them. Now the crew is looking for a handsome guy to set off the young master. Although not the protagonist, the presence is very high. As long as you perform well, you can directly stand firm in the circle. Azu, do you think this character will be favored by many people? Although Wu Nianzu has not watched this drama, when you think about it, it's Chen Haonan, the hottest child star, and a big capital and channel. It's difficult to get low attention. Moreover, with Xie Tingfeng's popularity in later generations, the quality of his debut works should still be guaranteed. He is a newcomer. If he becomes an important supporting role of big IP, he has already made a good start. Since Brother Guo is willing to tell him so much, it must not be in vain. Wu Nianzu quickly stood up and poured tea for Brother Guo. Brother Guo, please give me more guidance. Oh, Azu, I'm planning a play and the protagonist is also an ancient Chinese character. I really like you. Would you like to come? Upon hearing this, Wu Nianzu's heart immediately tightened and he forced himself to smile. Brother Guo, I won't take photos of Feng Yu. Lose your mother. We're going to make a wet and salty movie. I'm making a serious independent movie. Guo Gu shouted as he patted the table. Wu Nianzu breathed a sigh of relief. He really thought he was interested in his appearance and wanted to take a wet film with him. Bai hurriedly brought tea to Brother Guo's end point. Brother Guo, calm down, new man Azu doesn't understand. Brother Guo, can I ask what kind of project it is? How much investment is it? Wu Nianzu asked cautiously. Guo Gu. I'm not hiding it from you either. The project is temporarily called Flying Boy, with an investment of 500,000 yuan. You won't be paid for the performance. Abai was about to speak when Guo Gu waved his hand and interrupted him. If you want, I will support you as the supporting role of the play, Young Puzzled Boy, and I will give you the highest film remuneration within the authority of the crew. Wu Nianzu understood that this fruit brother was playing a game of borrowing chicken to lay eggs. Using the remuneration of others to choose the protagonist for one's own film. But he is a bit conflicted. If this guy made a terrible movie, there will be black spots on his resume. You can go and inquire. I, Chen Guo, have been in the industry for 16 years. Although I don't have much fame, I have also worked as a director and made movies. If you come to act, I will train your acting skills throughout. Not every newcomer has such treatment. Guo Gu continued to lay the bait. Wu Nianzu breathed a sigh of relief when he heard that he had made movies before. And his words have some truth, this new couple is really treated well. After the financial crisis, the number of Hong Kong film productions has sharply decreased and will fall into a slump. The supporting role of a big IP film is enough to make him a firm foothold in the entertainment circle. Step by step, step by step. If you step forward, you can see some opportunities. Time and opportunities wait for no one. Which one hasn't made a bad movie in the early years, even though it's on Monday now? After achieving success and fame, it will only be your training. Once you have gained a certain level of fame, you can take advantage of the power of Hong Kong stars to fight back to the mainland and seize resources. Wait, Brother Gua, your name is Chen Gua. Ir Dong Chen, indeed the fruit. What is the female lead in this movie? Is she Lu Feng? Wu Nianzu quickly asked. He remembered that Qin Hailu won the Golden Horse Award for Best Actress after her debut in Drifting Durian, directed by Chen Gua. Lu Feng. No. My film is about low-level flying kids. But your proposal is good. It seems that the theme of prostitutes is also worth exploring. Chen Gua rubbed his chin upon hearing the words. Brother Gua, can we handle this drama with a salary of 500,000 yuan? Don't worry. Do you know why I came early to help the crew of Young Puzzle survey the scenery? Save the remaining film, and the director promised to send me to film. I have already processed tens of thousands of feet of film, and with this one, it saves enough. Gua Gu firmly said. Got it. This Chen Gua is the genius who used another crew's 80,000-foot waste film to make the best picture at the Golden Film Awards. Brother Gua, I've taken it. Please take good care of it. New book seeking support. Recommend, bookmark, and follow up on reading. Thank you to all readers. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Resignation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Resignation. Hahaha. It's so easy to say. As soon as I saw you, I felt like you were on camera and your appearance had a cinematic feel. Chen Gua laughed heartily. Abai is also happy to see this. With the help of Brother Gua, he will never leave. Brother Gua, what do I need to prepare to meet the director this afternoon? No need to prepare. This kind of film doesn't require acting skills, you just need to know how to act cool and handsome in front of the camera. Chen Gua said with a smile. Get lost. Originally, all the content of your previous interview was done for your own Flying Boy. The executive director of Young Puzzle is really not a biological child who doesn't care. In 1996, Wang Jing, Lu Weiqiang, and Wen Jun came together to form the Best Partner Film Company. The company's flagship hit, The Ancient Puzzler, was a great success, allowing a few people to make a lot of money. Young Puzzle is invested by Emperor and Jiahe, with Best Partner responsible for filming and production, supervised by Wang Jing, written by Wen Jun, and directed by Lu Weiqiang. In fact, Wu Nianzu only saw Lu Weiqiang in the company. Changgu. This is Azu, the most beautiful person I have picked out among hundreds of people. Absolutely a good seedling. Chen Gua praised tirelessly in front of the director. Upon hearing this, Lu Weiqiang put away his gossip magazine and glanced at Wu Nianzu before nodding. Pretty enough. Do you have any shooting experience? Lu Weiqiang has filmed 4 ancient puzzle films, none of which have been more than half a month. This time, there is a newcomer named Xie Tingfeng in the crew, and he doesn't want to have more pure rookie training. Yes. Azu has played some minor supporting role and shot magazines, which has a sense of lens. Brother Gua blew without blinking. Okay, it's him. At the end of the day, Lu Weiqiang is not as focused on a drama that promotes people. And he's already filmed 4 movies, and he's exhausted. If it weren't for attracting enough money, the ghost would continue filming. Is this the process of casting the famous Kapuzi series? Wu Nianzu seems really too casual. The important supporting role of later generations still goes through the process of interview and pretends. But he also knows that it all depends on Chenguli's recommendation. Simply put, the entertainment industry is also a personal circle. Brother Gua, do we have a script? What kind of character am I? No. The scripts for the Gafuzi series were all written on site by Mr. Wen. But I've heard them say that your character had a disagreement with Chen Haonan in the early stages, but later he became infected and sympathized with him. That's just this kind of routine. I have heard of the various irregularities and high efficiency of Hong Kong Island film crews in the 1980s and 1990s in my past life, and now I have personally experienced them. But they can just sell seats. With Chen Guo as the executive director leading the way, everything went smoothly with the contract procedures, and the film paid 50,000 yuan. Wu Nianzu knew that without Chen Guo, it would be good if this newcomer could hold on and earn 1 or 2,000 yuan. At the entrance of the magazine office. As Wu Nianzu walked into the magazine office, he was thinking about resigning later. Azu is back. The people in the office gathered around when they heard this. Azu, how did you get to know Chen Ziwu? Azu, what's your relationship with Chen Ziwu? Wu Nianzu was immediately surrounded by people, full of chatter. After all, that was the famous Chen Ziwu. What's going on? Wu Nianzu was also confused. How could everyone know? Luan took out a newspaper and said, Azu, here's a journalist taking photos of you and Chen Ziwu. Wu Nianzu took a look and saw a photo of him chatting and laughing with Chen Ziwu at the dock a few days ago. At this moment, Editor-in-Chief Lu Sir walked over and said with a friendly expression, Azu, do you know Mr. Chen? Wu Nianzu saw everyone eagerly looking at him and cleared his throat. I met Chen Sheng at the dock a few days ago, and he praised me for being diligent and capable, and being a good employee. Seeing the four-eyed field chicken, he smiled and added, Four-eyed kid, it's a pity that you didn't want to stay that day, otherwise you could have seen your idol. The four-eyed rooster is a finance major at the University of Hong Kong, and the most admired person is Chen Ziwu, who has been dominating the financial market in recent years. How could such a good opportunity be met by this street-fighting ancestor? If he had stayed that day and met Chen Sheng, perhaps he could have gone directly to his company, become his assistant, and reached the pinnacle of his life. The four-eyed field chicken is filled with regret and jealousy just thinking about it. Chen Sheng, a big shot like him, has good manners. Even if he comes across someone like you, he will praise you. I'll forget about you today. Everyone felt reasonable upon hearing this, and Lu Sir also showed a disappointed expression as he turned around and wanted to leave. You're absolutely right. Chen Sheng, such a big shot, is really cultured. He even left me a personal business card. Wu Nianzu slowly took out the business card given to him by Chen Ziwu from his arms and held it in front of Lu Sir. Lu Sir fixed his eyes and saw that it was indeed Chen Ziwu's, along with a string of numbers. Just as he was about to take the business card, Wu Nianzu took it back into his arms. Lu Sir, I originally wanted to help the magazine schedule an interview with Chen Sheng. But some people's mouths really stink, with one on the left hitting the street and the other on the right, buzzing like flies. Editor-in-Chief Lu Sir immediately stiffened his face upon hearing this and said, Four-eyed kid, you haven't apologized to Azu yet. The four-eyed field chicken looked at Lu Sir incredulously and said, Lu Sir, you asked me to put this on the street. Punk your mother. Call him Zuj. Apologize quickly, otherwise all your bonuses this year will be cancelled. Lu Sir shouted immediately. The four-eyed field chicken wanted to resist, but thinking about the impact of the current financial crisis outside and the bonuses for the whole year this year, the flame in his heart went out directly. Zhu. I'm sorry. The four-eyed chicken whispered, clenching its fist. Four-eyed kid. Even mosquitoes make louder noises than you. Luan shouted beside him. Zuj. I'm sorry. Four-eyed boy closed his eyes and shouted loudly. Wu Nianzu smiled and walked up to Xianzi, helping him straighten his collar. Oh, Xianzi, Zuj, my lord doesn't mind being a villain. I'll let you go. Then Wu Nianzu leaned in his ear and whispered, also, the Mei you wanted to chase last time was shouting so loudly in bed. Looking at the four-eyed child's swollen and red face, Wu Nianzu's mouth tilted upwards and his mood became even more joyful. Lu Sir, I'm sorry, I came to resign today. Lu Sir's face changed and he said, Azu, you. Lu Sir, Chen Xing advised me to stop, promote me as an actor, and help me contact the third male lead in the Gafuzi series. After Wu Nianzu finished speaking, he took out the contract he just signed today. Upon hearing that it was being held by Chen Ziwu, Lu Sir suppressed his words and his face warmed again. Azu, I used to see you as a talented person, sooner or later you will soar to fame. But anyway, you are also someone from our magazine that has gone global. How about we do an interview about you and Chen Xing getting to know each other? Wu Nianzu smiled and said, I also have this intention. I'm about to make my debut, and the popularity of Big Nose Dragon doesn't fade away. Everyone looked enviously at Wu Nianzu. The four-eyed field chicken was even more jealous in his heart, and now he only has one thought. Why didn't he stay at the dock at that time? New book seeking support. Recommend, bookmark, and follow up on reading. Thank you to all readers. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Stinky Boy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Stinky Boy. At the champion fighting arena, Wu Nianzu found a coach to accompany him for 2 hours for 500 yuan. He heard from Brother Gua that there would be combat scenes, so he decided to come and practice first. In the future, we should consider exercising as a long-term plan and work hard in the entertainment industry. A good body is necessary. The coach brought it to a row of sandbags, and several people were already practicing. Next to Wu Nianzu was a young man with earrings, his hair completely covering his eyebrows and eyes, making it difficult to see his appearance clearly. When passing by the young man, I only felt a foul smell coming. Wu Nianzu frowned. How long has it been since I took a shower? I'm most annoyed by these unsanitary bear kids. Thin and weak arms, lying limply on the sandbag. The sandbag swayed slightly, and the coach yawned beside him. Wu Nianzu looked at the Stinky Boy and then at the sandbag in front of him. His shoulders were slightly heavy, and he exerted force from his waist to punch the sandbag. With a loud bang, the sandbag in front of me was knocked flying and swinging in the air. A few people around looked over. You're not strong either. You're so strong. Try changing to a 60-kilogram sandbag, the coach said in surprise. Wu Nianzu also didn't expect that it might be a benefit of traveling. He just felt that his energy was very strong, but he didn't expect that his explosive power also increased a lot. Xie Tingfeng turned his head and found that the young man next to him not only had the same appearance as him, but also taller than himself, with even better-looking muscles all over his body. After changing to a 60-kilogram sandbag, Wu Nianzu still caused it to shake significantly. Damn it. Boss, you really haven't practiced before. Coach, I'm born with divine powers, there's no need to lie to you, Wu Nianzu said with a chin high and a smile. I'll exchange 80 kilograms for you. This is professional, enough for you to use. When the sandbag is hit, it should not shake significantly, otherwise it is not conducive to continuous hitting practice. The 80 kilograms one is okay, with not much shaking, barely enough for Wu Nianzu to practice now. Wu Nianzu looked at the Stinky Boy staring at him, pointed to his own sandbag, and then pointed to him. He shrugged his shoulders at the young man, made a mischievous laugh provocatively, and then began to strike continuously. Xie Tingfeng looked at the sandbag in front of Wu Nianzu, almost as tall as him. Looking at my own sandbag in front of me again, I was a bit shorter and lost a circle. I am not weaker than others. Coach, I also want to change my sandbag, he said with enthusiasm. 40 kilograms is enough for you to practice. I said add weight to me. The coach had no choice but to replace him with a 60 kilograms one. Wu Nianzu said, bang bang. Bang bang bang. The black holster hit the sandbag with a dull sound, and the sandbag kept shaking. And Xie Tingfeng next to him said, pup, pup, pup. The sandbags are basically not driven. Behind Xie Tingfeng, a woman dressed in a small suit, long trousers, and a neat outfit was giving her chicken blood. Ah Xie, come on. Hold on a little longer. Shut up. You're so annoying. Don't follow me anymore. Originally embarrassed by the gaze of Wu Nianzu, Xie Tingfeng burst out and threw his fist on the ground, shouting before snatching the door away. TSK TSK TSK, young people just can't stand it. Watching this stinky guy leave, Wu Nianzu suddenly felt happy and smiled apologetically at the capable woman. Goose egg face, with sharp and angular contours, clean and sharp facial lines, coupled with her professional attire, gives a sense of grandeur. Don't say, this woman is the most outstanding in appearance he has ever seen since traveling. Huayu glared at Wu Nianzu, then apologized to the coach, sighed helplessly, and chased after him. Half a day of music classes and half a day of fighting, Wu Nianzu's life before joining the group was also quite fulfilling. Chen Ziwu is optimistic about supernovae and encourages them to take over the position of Gafuzi. Chen Ziwu's taste has suddenly changed, he doesn't love girls and loves boys. Looking at the title of the magazine in his hand, Wu Nianzu's mouth twitched. Undoubtedly, it is a Hong Kong Island tabloid that further fabricates around its own story. I have written several reports on the relationship between Chen Ziwu and myself in a row. Guessing distant relatives and friends is enough, but actually claiming to be Longa's new male pet. Banana, Yubara. At the doorstep, Wu Nianzu was pulling out the key and the door opened from inside. A beautiful woman wearing home pajamas is walking out carrying garbage. Isn't this the capable beauty I saw at the martial arts gym this afternoon? When Huayu saw Wu Nianzu, he was immediately shocked. Hello. Who are you? Why did you track me to my house? At this moment, Huayu was dressed in home pajamas, with his hair not tied up and hanging naturally from his shoulders. The buttons on the top row of the pajamas were not fastened, revealing a trace of the edge. Wu Nian's ancestral home is located at Gaolinxia. It's red. Huayu keenly noticed Wu Nianzu's gaze and quickly grabbed his clothes, saying, "What are you looking at? You're a pervert. If you don't leave, I'll call the police." Wow. Beauty, why did you come into my house? What, your family, this is clearly what I just rented. Are you Wu Xing's son? Meanwhile, Wu Nianzu also realized and smiled, saying, "Beautiful woman, so destined. My name is Wu Nianzu, take care of me more in the future." Thinking of the trouble Wu Nianzu caused himself this afternoon, Huayu glanced at Wu Nianzu angrily and said, "It's better for us to be strangers." Haha. Strangers are also good. However, I have a suggestion for you. Let your brother take more showers. Don't smoke others in public spaces, otherwise it will be difficult to find a girlfriend in the future. Wu Nianzu pointed to the living room. Since others don't give him a good face, he naturally doesn't get used to it and directly retorts. Huayu, who was supposed to throw garbage, glared at Wu Nianzu and turned around to put the garbage bag back in the living room. Wu Nianzu had just walked in when a little boy ran over and said seriously, "Big brother, I take a shower every day." Wu Nianzu smiled and said, "Good boy, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about your brother with long hair." "I don't have a brother. The one I saw this afternoon wasn't her younger brother." Wu Nianzu didn't think much. "Good boy, you don't want your sister to be smoked by garbage, do you?" The little boy was indeed very well behaved, carrying garbage and walking towards the door. Looking at the beautiful woman standing on the side with an unpleasant expression, Wu Nianzu also withdrew his smile. "Miss, since our 2-8 characters don't match, then from now on, let the well water not invade the river, under one roof, it's best for everyone to be safe and sound." Watching Wu Nianzu enter the room, Huayu also patted his head. She is very good at socializing at work, but when she got home, she took off her mask. In addition, Xie Tingfeng's various rebellious actions in the afternoon made her angry, leading to such a bad relationship with the landlord's son. The best partner company, the three giants gather together. Wang Jing handed a newspaper to Lu Weiqiang and asked strangely. Ah Chang, how come I don't know that the billionaire Chen Ziwu is bringing newcomers to our crew? Lu Weiqiang looked at the newspaper and saw that it was a photo of Wu Nianzu. I don't know either. He was brought in by Chen Guo. He looks pretty enough, so I'll let him play the role of Big Head. Do you want to ask Chen Guo what's going on? Wen Jun asked. After thinking for a moment, Wang Jing shook his head and said. No need, it's related to Chen Ziwu. What a great promotional point. On, add one more to this lead role and make it the second promotional point when the film is released. Wen Jun nodded to show understanding. The main target audience for promotion is still Xie Tingfeng. Xiao Xie really doesn't wash her hair for a month. I have been roasted by several female stars who have cooperated with me. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Joining the group. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Joining the group. At the entrance of the ice room, Liang Kuan and Big Brother B met and hugged each other happily. Kuan Gu, congratulations. Fit's name is not false, it's crazy enough. Big Brother B, where can we compare to your power? I acted it out, are you really powerful? At the beginning of this year, Wu Zhenyu won the Best Actor award at the 3rd Hong Kong Island Film Critics Society Awards for his outstanding performance in Mong Kok Fit Man, a drama with Liang Kuan as the male lead. He has even changed his flower name to Liang Kuan now. Don't be fooled by the fierce battles between Liang Kuan and Debi in the play, both of them became famous through the Ancient Puzzle series, and their off-screen relationships were good. Although Big B Wu Zhixiong's main business does not follow the path of acting, with this popularity, his restaurant and ice room business has doubled tenfold in revenue over the past year. The two of them walked into the ice room, laughing and talking, with clear bangs in their ears. A handsome guy wearing a sports vest is hitting back at the sandbag. Although his muscles are not very strong, they have a strong sense of lines, with a dragon head and a tiger head tattooed on each arm. Wow, don't you want to exaggerate like this? Big B, you're with me. Wu Zhenyu looked at the sandbag, which was a bit unbearable. Chen Guo walked over and said, Big Brother B, this is Azu, playing the big head of your subordinates. Wu Nianzu also stopped and looked up to greet, boss. Kuan Gu. Azu, is your tattoo really fake? Wu Zhenyu looked at the lifelike tiger head on Wu Nianzu's arm and reached out to touch it. Wu Zhixiong suddenly reached out and stopped, tattoos cannot be touched casually. Wu Nianzu smiled and said, thank you, boss. Wu Nianzu, of course this is not a real tattoo, it was painted by yesterday. As he joked, Lu Weiqiang took the lead at the door and another wave of people came in. Everyone quickly greeted Lu Weiqiang and Wen Jun, while Wu Nianzu widened his eyes. It's not because of Shu Qi who looks the same as Abu next to Lu Weiqiang, but because of Xie Tingfeng on the other side and Huo Wenxi behind him. At this point, Xie Tingfeng had already trimmed his hair short, and Wu Nianzu could recognize it at a glance. He didn't expect that the unhygienic stinky kid at the fight gym the other day was Xie Tingfeng. Xie Tingfeng was also surprised to see Wu Nianzu, let alone Huo Wenxi behind him. At this moment, she also had to admit that she had a fate with Wu Nianzu, a wicked fate. What's wrong with having a bad relationship with the male lead before filming starts? Wu Nianzu rushed to Chen Guo's side and whispered, Brother Guo. A few days ago, Xie Tingfeng and I had a little accident. Chen Guo immediately glared at him upon hearing this and said, lost. What's going on? You didn't do anything, did you? No. We didn't say anything, it was just eye contact. Chen Guo looked at Wu Nianzu suspiciously and said, I'll take you to apologize later. Don't provoke him in the team. I heard he's difficult to deal with. The agents have changed several times. Let oneself apologize to the Stinky Boy, but Wu Nianzu was somewhat unwilling. In the future, when I become popular and spread it, won't it be Black History again? Wu Nianzu's eyes rolled. Brother Gua, the big head I played had a grudge against Chen Haonan at the beginning of the play. Isn't this kind of relationship just right now? Gua Gu certainly understands Wu Nianzu's unyielding thoughts. He doesn't care if it's someone else. But who made it their chosen male lead? The male protagonist in Fei Zai should have such a rebellious and flying personality. It's not beautiful to suppress it. Stinky kid. I'll go talk to Director Lu later. Wu Nianzu chuckled. They both didn't know, because when it came to Chen Ziwu's report, several senior members of the production team had already decided to add scenes to Wu Nianzu and wouldn't do anything to him at all. Lu Weiqiang first asked the actors who met for the first time to introduce themselves. The male protagonist Xie Tingfeng came up and saw him with his hands in his pockets, coolly saying, "I am Xie Tingfeng, playing Chen Haonan." Next are the two important characters, Liang Kuan and De Bi, whom everyone naturally knows. Lu Weiqiang pointed to Shu Qi, who was wearing a cute dress next to him, and said, "Everyone knows that this is our female lead, Fancy." Shu Qi quickly waved her hand and said, "Just call me Chi Chi." When Shu Qi debuted, she made a third-level film, and the English name, Fan, was given by the company. Fanny means buttocks in American slang, and using this name in erotic films is very provocative and suggestive. For Shu Qi, who is striving for transformation now, this English name has become a burden and she is trying to get rid of it as much as possible. At this moment, Wu Nianzu walked out and said, "I'm Wu Nianzu, just call me Azu. In my play, I'm Big Head, Chi-Chi's boyfriend." After Wu Nianzu finished speaking, he smiled at Shu Qi and then saw Xie Tingfeng, his mouth curling up. Xie Tingfeng remembered the situation at the martial arts gym that day, only feeling that Wu Nianzu was laughing so hard that he couldn't help but snort and looked at him. Lu Weiqiang saw that there was something wrong with the two and frowned. Chen Guo rushed to Lu Weiqiang's side. After a few whispers, Lu Weiqiang's eyebrows widened. "I think letting Wu Nianzu provoke Xie Tingfeng is also a good way to help the actors get into their state. Afterwards, enter the familiar Baiguan Eri and turn it on. Lu Weiqiang is here telling the actors about today's scenes." On the other hand, Wen Jun looked at the crowd while writing and drawing in his notebook. As is well known, in order to save costs, the filming crew on Hong Kong Island mostly shoot according to the venue. If there is a complete script at the beginning, that is easy to say, but unfortunately the script has not been completed. So the screenwriter needs to be on the same stage, jumping through the plot and choreographing the scenes to be filmed. For example, the current ice chamber gathering point is not just a series of scenes, but also has scenes at the beginning, middle, and end of the film. At the next venue, there will be temporary plot and scenes interspersed, and finally they will come together to form a complete story. In this situation, it can still sell well after half a month, and it has to be said that Wen Jun is really a talented person. As the protagonist, the filming process naturally follows Chen Haonan's role. As a newcomer, Xie Tingfeng's situation is frequent. Either the camera is positioned incorrectly or the lines are stuck. But everyone knows that this play is just praising him, and no one says a word, it's just grinding. Although Lu Weiqiang is a director, he is actually not interested in this play. The specific tasks are all done by Chen Guo, and most of the time Lu Weiqiang sits in the director's chair behind the camera, shouting, "Click." Chen Guo thought for a moment and decided to film the scene where Xie Tingfeng and Wu Nianzu meet first. Chen Haonan and his friends followed Big B to the gathering place of Gapuzi for the first time, and looked around with curiosity. Suddenly, a loud bang was heard, and the camera followed Chen Haonan's line of sight. A tall and handsome man was practicing hard in front of a sandbag, with sweat constantly streaming through his muscular body. Wu Nianzu looked up and shouted, "Boss," to De Bi, then saw Chen Haonan and several other students wearing school uniforms, showing disdainful eyes. Xie Tingfeng in the camera also showed an unconvinced gaze when he saw Wu Nianzu. Lu Weiqiang's eyes lit up. Oh, Gua. Your arrangement is indeed right. Today, let's start filming the scenes of De Tu and Chen Haonan, so that the young master can quickly get into the state. Chen Gua didn't expect Wu Nianzu to be so crooked. New book seeking support. Recommend, bookmark, and follow up on reading. Thank you to all readers. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Suppression. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Suppression. In the next scene, Wu Nianzu moved to the ice room dining table and saw several newly arrived students constantly peeking at his girlfriend, making disdainful noises in his nostrils. Then, thinking of something, suddenly one corner of his mouth tilted and he pulled Shu Qi closer to him, making her cling tightly to his waist, then leaned forward slightly and asked with a smile. Nanzai, are you still a child chicken? Do you want your sister Law Fei to introduce some sisters to you? The other few students were all beaming with joy upon hearing this. Only Chen Haonan, who had developed feelings for AFI, clenched his fists, gritted his teeth and remained silent, looking at Wu Nianzu with a displeased expression on his face. But Wu Nianzu laughed heartily as he looked at him. Don't worry. I will definitely ask a Fei to find the most beautiful one for you. Fu Chu. Ha. Gua. Azu performed very well. Ah Feng was also very good. Xie Tingfeng is really unhappy, but he can't get angry. The plot is arranged in the play. Off-screen directors all praised Wu Nianzu for his excellent performance. Not to mention that his outburst was unreasonable, the key is that he couldn't beat Wu Nianzu. And the agent Huvenchi, who was working as an assistant, was also affected by the situation. Lu Weiqiang saw that Xie Tingfeng was in good condition in these two scenes, so he arranged for Xie Tingfeng to shoot other scenes. As a result, he filmed 2 scenes, and I don't know if his emotions have not yet come out. Xie Tingfeng always carries a negative attitude toward strangers. Lu Weiqiang shook his head as he watched, and Chen Gua quickly offered sacrifices to Wu Nianzu again. This time, De Tu and Chen Haonan were practicing boxing on the fighting platform. Wu Nianzu held a boxer's target and served as Xie Tingfeng's companion for training. Xie Tingfeng took this opportunity to vent all his previous frustrations. The fist that was supposed to swing towards the target kept hitting Wu Nianzu's head. But at this moment, Xie Tingfeng's agility and strength were far behind Wu Nianzu's, and Wu Nianzu lightly blocked them with his hand target. Then he continued to mock and say, "Student, come on. Are you not full yet? Are you still not weaned? What are you doing out of this trash?" Xie Tingfeng only felt that Wu Nianzu's words were meant for him, and he exerted all his strength, even using his legs and knees. After Wu Nianzu blocked his whip leg and knee, his left hand target swept open Xie Tingfeng's fist, and his right hand target hit Xie Tingfeng's chest, pushing him to the ground. Then the hand target fiercely hit Xie Tingfeng's face. At this moment, Xie Tingfeng looked at the sudden attack of the hand target and only wanted to recoil, but his body, which was pressed down by Wu Nianzu, could not move. The hand target suddenly stopped in front of Xie Tingfeng. Wu Nianzu glared fiercely at Xie Tingfeng, making him motionless in fear. Then Wu Nianzu snorted and threw the target onto the ground, fiercely saying, "We are ancient fools, risking our lives. If you continue to be so cowardly, you will be chopped to death sooner or later." After Wu Nianzu left, Xie Tingfeng began to gasp for breath, then gritted his teeth and slammed his gloved fist onto the ground. Over. Very good. Xie Tingfeng is still patting the floor, he just wants to vent his emotions now. Xie Tingfeng didn't hate anything else, but he was really scared by Wu Nianzu just now. The director can't even make him perform it again. He hates himself for not being competitive, and in that moment he just wanted to run back. He now has some disgust and fear towards Wu Nianzu. Big Brother B smiled at Wu Zhenyu and said, "TSK, you really deserve to be a young master." Wu Zhenyu helped Xie Tingfeng by saying, "It's not his fault. It's his first time acting, but Azu was too fierce." Big B nodded and said, Azu is really a good seedling." He felt that Wu Nianzu was no worse than any of his younger brothers before, and within a year under his command, he was the leader. Wu Zhenyu also agrees that they are all newcomers and can directly crush Xie Tingfeng like this. Azu really has great potential. Some others saw something, while others only thought Xie Tingfeng was too deeply involved in the play. Many people even gloated when they saw the Crown Prince in the production team being so exhausted. Which debuted here is not a difficult one, and I still haven't received the treatment of Xie Tingfeng. And haven't you seen any beautiful agent like Huayu? Shu Qi walked over and said, "Azu, you bullied the male lead like this, aren't you afraid that Boss Yang will trouble you?" Looking at the face that was very similar to Abu, Wu Nianzu still felt a bit dazed. "Chi, I just filmed according to the director's requirements. Is it because he was too deeply involved in the film? Is this also my fault? Azu, how many years have you been filming?" "I'm a newcomer, the first one." "Cheating ghosts." Shu Qi gave him a blank glance upon hearing the words. She doesn't believe that Wu Nianzu's acting skills are at the level of newcomers. "Chi, you're so beautiful that I can't even tell a lie in front of you." Clever words. Shu Qi cursed, but smiled happily on her face. "So you're just a natural performer. So you're a violent man." Shu Qi had such an expression. Chi, I'm very gentle. If you don't believe me, give it a try." Watching Wu Nianzu's mischievous smile, Shu Qi's heart was shaken. "I have to say, this guy is really handsome. Fortunately, my mother has been in the industry for many years, and if she were a different little girl, she would really fall into trouble. Try, you big-headed ghost." Shu Qi nudged Wu Nianzu's arm with her elbow. "I said it's in the play, and I'm already a big head." Wu Nianzu begged for mercy. Shu Qi chuckled at the words. At this moment, Wen Jun looked at Wu Nianzu, who was chatting and laughing with Shu Qi, and his heart was also pondering. The character De Tu is a character from the original manga of Gu Fu Zai, and Wen Jun originally intended to use it as a tool. But today this newcomer Azu performed so well, and he was already planning to add scenes for him. Now it's even more inspiring. Bring up the role of Azu again. As for what Mr. Yang, the investor, will say. Green leaves are brighter to highlight the beauty of flowers. If this Azu performs well enough, then let him play the role of the prison's big head in the 5th installment starring Zheng Yimian. To be honest, today's scenes were really easy to shoot. The filming style of the Hong Kong Island crew is more casual and life-oriented. As long as you get used to this style and have explosive emotions, you can meet the director's requirements. These are exactly the strengths of Wu Nianzu, who was a voice actor in his previous life. And films like Gu Puzi, which don't require any delicate performances, really don't pose a challenge to Wu Nianzu. Today, Xie Tingfeng was in a bad mood and difficult to serve, while Huayu felt physically and mentally exhausted. Remembering Wu Nianzu who caused all of this. In theory, sharing a room with someone of the opposite sex with extremely high looks should be considered a pleasant experience. But Huayu sighed. "When I got home, I didn't change my clothes." Dong dong dong. Opening the door, Wu Nianzu's vest, large shorts, and flip-flops exuded a lazy temperament, in stark contrast to Huayu, who was dressed in professional attire. Looking at Huayu smiling at him, Wu Nianzu showed an unexpected expression. "Mr. Wu, we had some misunderstandings before, but after all, we will have to live together for so long in the future. I hope we can get to know each other again." Wu Nianzu reached out and shook his hand. "Call me Azu." It's all a coincidence, and I didn't expect you to be the agent of the young master. Azu, when it comes to Feng Zai, can you tolerate him on set? How to be tolerant? He's a child, please don't argue with him and say a few good words to coax him. Wu Nianzu sneered. I'm not his boss, why tolerate him? If you're visiting me today for this matter, there's nothing to talk about. Huvenchi wanted to say something else, but the door slammed shut. Huowensi kicked the chair in the living room and muttered, men are all stingy. Thank you for raising the mosquito-repellent incense for 1,500 coins as a reward. Thank you for giving a reward of 100 coins to Shinshan Concave Man. Thank you to the book friend for giving a 100-coin reward of 160130194856518. Thank you for the monthly pass with the mosquito-repellent incense rising. Recommended tickets for book enthusiasts, passers-by from the stars, rugged mountains, a whale falling in all things born, and 160130194856518. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Just want fast in and out, not long-term shareholders. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Just want fast in and out, not long-term shareholders. Inside the room, Wu Nianzu was a bit unhappy. He thought Huowensi would find him to reconcile. It's your own fault that your own artists are difficult to deal with. Why should I speak up and speak up? The relationship with Xie Tingfeng needs to ease sooner or later, otherwise it will be difficult to make a scene where the two reconcile later on. When the director can't find Xie Tingfeng, if he troubles, he will definitely find himself. But this should be a week from now. It's not urgent, let's hang this woman for a few days. 2 days later, the scenes for the Ice Room Ancient Puzzle Gathering have been filmed and moved to the dance hall. In the play, Shu Qi played the dancer Fei, who always felt that Big Head only cared about the club and didn't care enough about herself, so the two of them had a falling out. Did I inform you that I was coming? Wu Nianzu questioned Shu Qi. A customer called me, but I didn't bring a pager, Shu Qi responded calmly. Then you know now. I'll go back after smoking this cigarette, Shu Qi said and took out her cigarette. Xie Tingfeng quickly took out a lighter to help Shu Qi light her cigarette. Wu Nianzu looked angrily at Xie Tingfeng and then at Shu Qi. Then he pulled Shu Qi into his arms, and the domineering king forced himself to bow, ignoring Shu Qi's struggle and giving him a strong kiss. Watching Xie Tingfeng grit his teeth and clench his fists next to him. Pup your mother. He, the male protagonist, never even pulled his hand. After a moment, the two parted ways. Wu Nianzu's lips were blood-stained and he said to Shu Qi word by word, "You are my woman." Shu Qi straightened her hair, glared at Wu Nianzu, then picked up Xie and stood up before leaving. Wu Nianzu's face didn't look good, so he raised his glass and took a strong sip. Pass. Wu Nianzu stood up and watched as the crew filmed the next scene of Shu Qi and Xie Tingfeng dancing. After finishing, Shu Qi came to Wu Nianzu's side and said, "Azu, are your lips okay?" "Chi-Chi, I have always said that I am very gentle, but I didn't expect you to be so fierce." Wu Nianzu touched his broken lips. "Roar, who asked you to reach in?" "Chi-Chi, it's clear that you're the one who responded first." "I'll respond politely, okay." Shu Qi blushed and patted him, "You're still talking." Just now, Shu Qi kissed Wu Nianzu and unconsciously got in. A few seconds later, she remembered filming and quickly took a bite, biting Wu Nianzu's lips open. However, the effect produced in this way makes the director more satisfied. "Na Chi-Chi, are you going to compensate me?" Wu Nianzu pointed to his broken lips. Shu Qi glanced at him and said, "I have ointment at home. Do you have any seeds to go?" Nowadays, the outside world is rumoring that Shu Qi is the mistress of Wang Jing, and there are not many actors in the industry who dare to provoke Wang Jing. Not to mention newcomers like Wu Nianzu. How could Wu Nianzu be laughed at by women and have no guts? Night. Everything comes naturally. There is a saying circulating on Hong Kong Island. Shu Qi's mouth, Wan Qiwen's legs. Wu Nianzu has experienced one thing now, but feels that it has a different flavor. Azu, are you really not afraid of Wang Jing sealing you off? Wu Nianzu groped his delicate waist and said with a smile, death under the peony flower, being a ghost is also charming. It's Chi-Chi, you're so charming. You are so lecherous that you make me dizzy. Shu Qi smiled and said. Wu Nianzu is certainly not a sperm brain. He knew that according to the timeline, a few months later, Shu Qi would start a 7-year underground relationship with Li Ming while filming City of Glass. So by now, Shu Qi must have nothing to do with Wang Pengzi. It should be said that since Shu Qi won the Golden Award for Pornographic Men and Women at the beginning of this year and began to transform, her messy relationships have disappeared. That's why Wu Nianzu is so talented. After a moment, Shu Qi touched Wu Nianzu's chest and said, Azu, do you think my background is not good? Damn it, this woman doesn't really want to play, right? Wu Nianzu was taken aback by how good it was for everyone to be a married couple in a film crew. He only wanted fast in and out, not to be a growth line shareholder. Shu Qi has always been sensitive and insecure due to her past experiences in making romantic films, and she lacks a sense of security. At this moment, she has just transformed and urgently needs to gain recognition and affirmation from others, making it easy for men to enter her heart. But Wu Nianzu is a man who has to work hard in the entertainment industry, how could he give up the forest? Wu Nianzu comforted and said, Sister Chi-Chi, in our profession, if you have the opportunity, you must climb up. Who has the right to mock who? On the contrary, I admire your courage to transform. This is Wu Nianzu's sincere words, there are really not many female stars who can transform and make it to the shore in making romantic films. It is difficult to put on clothes that have been taken off, and in terms of the success of transformation, Shu Qi has achieved it. Regardless of whether Wu Nianzu is telling the truth or not, Shu Qi is very happy to hear this. Women just need to be obedient. Azu, you. Wu Nianzu suddenly interrupted with a voice. Chi-Chi, do you know what my current situation is? Shu Qi looked at Wu Nianzu's profile and listened to his words. At the beginning of this year, my parents borrowed money to speculate on real estate, and bought it at the highest point. The homeowner is still me. Now that the real estate market is plummeting, our family is burdened with millions of debts. Upon hearing this, Shu Qi's eyes couldn't help but widen. Although she has been in the industry for several years, her income is actually very low. When I was in the Bay, I signed 6 films for a total of 100,000 yuan. After being brought to Hong Kong Island by Wang Jing, my situation has improved a bit, but I haven't made $1 million now. A large part of it is still being sent home by her, and she doesn't have much money left around. Upon hearing that Wu Nianzu was burdened with millions of debts, she opened her mouth and couldn't speak, and the newly risen flames were extinguished in her heart. Wu Nianzu gently rubbed and said, Chi-Chi, can we have wine today and get drunk today? Shu Qi looked at Wu Nianzu and felt that he was just as pitiful as herself. Suddenly, the Virgin Mary's heart overflowed and she hugged his head. Wu Nianzu couldn't help but arch. The night outside is seductive, and the wind and clouds inside are rising again. At this moment, Longu Chen Ziwu was still on the phone with Abu, talking incessantly about his rise history. Longu is brewing Shu Qi, Abu, and Azu is also shooting Shu Qi. The next day on the set, Shu Qi's face was rosy, while Wu Nianzu remained energetic. The scenes filmed these days are for Chenhaonan's campus. Although there are no scenes for Big Head and Afei, we still need to work with the team. In his school role, he portrayed Chenhaonan as a rebellious teenager, while Xie Tingfeng was well versed in acting and everything went smoothly. Along with that, Wenxi has been in a good mood these days. Returning home, she was surprised to see Wu Nianzu. This guy hasn't been home for 2 or 3 days in a row, how did he come back? But the relationship between the two is still lukewarm, so let's just meet and nod. The doorbell suddenly rang. After Huayu opened the door, he saw a man in a casual suit, wearing golden glasses, and looking like an elite standing in front of the door. He held a bouquet of roses in his hand and smiled when he saw Huayu, saying, "Mani, I heard you moved, so I came to congratulate you. Mr. Yi, thank you for caring about me. But I still have younger siblings to take care of, so I won't keep you." Huayu smiled politely and was about to close the door. Yi Chongren reached out to block the door and said, "Mani, don't be so polite. Let's call me Ren instead. It's customary to listen like this. Also, I would like to invite you for a meal. Can you please do me a favor?" Huawen's smile disappeared and he said, "Mr. Yi, we've been over for several years now. Aren't you dating Wu Qili now? I don't want to play this game with you." Yi Chongren looked apologetic and said, "Mani, it used to be me who wasn't good. Qili, she's just a spoiled little princess. I just realized how good you are now." Yi Chongren was speaking when he suddenly saw a man inside the house. Recommended. Seeking collection. Please follow up. Thank you, everyone. End of this chapter.